Hi, I'm Elena Del Cruz and welcome back to Girl Talk. Today I'm here with Liz Lamb from Counseling Services and we're going to talk about all about body imaging issues. So hi Liz, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's talk about the whole body image issue in today's world. Why do you think it's such a big problem?
Well, I think body image is a problem today because we use the word ideal, which sets up expectations that aren't always healthy and aren't always realistic. You know, I think it's interesting that, kind of the ideal body image shifts from country to country. So in Asian cultures, kind of the preference is for kind of a slender body, where in a place like Rwanda, the ideal body is kind of fuller, which signifies wealth and health and all of that. So I think that body image is definitely impacted by media too. I think it has a really big play in it, and I think that it's something that men and women both struggle with.
I totally agree. But then when you think about the media, how do you think it's becoming such a big negative contributor, and why do you feel it is so today?
Well, I think part of the issue too is that we can't get away from media. It's everywhere. It's print, it's TV, even social media. And I think too that there are these ideals and these perfect body images that people think that they have to strive to be. And again, I think that there are really unrealistic expectations out there. And I think that media portrays a body that just isn't typical. So I'll give you an example. Research has said that a typical female body is 5'4", weighing 140 pounds, where you have an average model, a professional, who is 5'11" and weighs 117 pounds. So that model statistically is 98% thinner than a typical average American woman. So I think that we're sending messages that probably aren't the healthiest for women to be hearing and seeing and kind of absorbing and taking in.
I agree. And when it comes to the differences between a male's perspective of self-esteem, how does it reflect from a male's to a female's?
The foundation of self-esteem is similar for men and women. I think it starts in childhood, and it's definitely impacted by the important people in our lives, how they treat us, our history of successes and failures. But I think men and women's self-esteem tends to deviate at a point because we have different experiences. I think that women have the pressure to kind of be smarter, be thinner, all of these things that it's just really heavy and weighs after a while. And like I said before, women kind of have this ideal of this slender, thin body, but males are also feeling some pressure too to kind of be muscular and to be built and all of that. So I think that self-esteem in general is similar for men and women, but I think it just deviates based on kind of the different experiences that we have as far as gender is concerned.
And today in this world, they are doing campaigns to practice that.
Yes.
Like specifically like Dove and Victoria's Secret. What do you feel, or what's your opinion on those types of campaigns?
I think both campaigns are very different and send very different messages. I think the Dove Real Beauty campaign is really about celebrating diversity and uniqueness and celebrating the female body in its pure form. And I think it's sending a very healthy message and a very realistic message. And then when you compare that to a Victoria's Secret campaign, we're talking about paid professional models.
Lastly, what kind of tips or advice can you give to girls that are still dealing with this issue?
Absolutely. I would say, first and foremost, be a little bit easier on yourself. I think that we are sometimes our toughest critics, and I think sometimes that's not always helpful. So also, too, creating very realistic expectations for who we are and what we are. And sometimes I think that we tend to focus on the negative or focus on a flaw that we think that we have. My suggestion or my challenge would be to flip that around. Focus on something that you're proud of, something that's a strength, something that you see in yourself that's beautiful.
Well, thank you so much for answering my questions. Well, that's all for Girl Talks. Tune in next week, and we'll see you soon.